Okay, YouTubers, wanted to kind of go over the experience I had installing one of these universal speedometers on my son's Honda. It's an 82 Honda CB450, and the installation went fairly easy. This is the gauge here, and everything seems to be working. I did notice that there seems to be 2 or 3 different styles of this gauge. They all look the same, but the menus are different. Let me see if I can show you this menu. Of course, you push the back button and hold it and turn on the key. And that gets you to the service menu. Mine shows a big 1. And I've noticed there are some others that show just little numbers in the bottom there, like where across the C is. Mine shows a big 1 on this one. I think we've pretty much got that down as to be the circumference for your speed. I'm going to move on to the next menu here. You press and hold 3 seconds, somewhere right there, and it switches to a big 2. And that is, on my gauge, it goes from 1, let me clean this off, working in the rain today, to 12. So I got 0, 1, and then I can rotate that all the way to 12, and then it cycles around again. Haven't quite figured out what that setting is. I'm going to work on those to see if I can figure those out. Press and hold 3 seconds again. I get a big 3 on this. I believe it was set to 1 when I got it, so, and it goes 2 to 4, so I'm assuming that's cylinders, which would make sense. Press and hold. I go to 4. Now this one, I haven't seen too much on YouTube on this one. Mine, I have a 2 and a 3 I can set it at. Since I got 3 magnets in the box, I'm assuming it has to do with how many magnets you have placed on your front wheel for the speed. So right now I have 2. Then I can move to 5. And on this one, it will go 0. It resets. It was at 4 right now. When I pushed it once, it reset it. And I can't change it, but for some reason it went up. I'm not sure if that has to do with odometer settings. And then to reset, of course, turn off the key. It'll reset everything. Does the tach. I was able to get the fuel gauge to shut off or just go solid, and what I did is I just took off a resistor off of a old electronic board I had. My instructions say that the gas tank level goes from like 98 when it's empty to 8 when it's full. The resistor I pulled was a 27 ohm resistor, so it's in between, and my gas gauge is reading 3/4 of a tank solid. So of course I've got all my lights. Those were pretty self-explanatory. And guess I should choke it, get this thing going. My tack seems to be working fine. So the tack seems to be working. I'll show you how I hooked that up. This bike does have a CDI ignition system, so after looking over several videos, this is where I hooked it. I tied it into the yellow wire. My green wire is my tack wire. I tied it into the yellow wire that goes up to this plug that's underneath here. And then I ran the tack wire up to my gauge. And that seemed to work for this bike. So I don't see... I noticed a couple videos about CDI ignitions. I don't know. I didn't have an issue with this one. This tack and speedometer doesn't come with an oil light. I did just cut off the original oil gauge off the top of the cluster and left it wired in and just mounted it onto the original bracket. Everything's mounted on to the original bracket. I'm gonna do maybe make a aluminum bracket for this to mount everything nicely, but all in all the installation went pretty good. Now I'm going to go inside. I'll show you the wiring schematic, what I have, and show you how the different wires. Okay, so this is the wiring schematic, or the diagram that they sent with the gauge. Most of it was pretty self-explanatory. You have the fleet blue, which is your right turn signal. The blue is the distance light, which is your high beams. The position lamp, that's just illumination. That double lighted lamp there, I didn't hook that one up. The orange wire is your left signal. Yellow and black is your tack. That's the wire I hooked up to my tack. Of course, you got the green, which is just grounds. The blue and white is the fuel indicator. That's the one I hooked a little 27 ohm resistor to stop my gauge from blinking. Of course, red is battery plus. Black is battery negative. And then you have your plug for your speed sensor. And then of course all your gears. I just hooked up to neutral because that's the one that works on this bike. So that's pretty much the diagram of the gauge. But there are a couple other diagrams that show different wiring. I know one showed having an oil light on it. So obviously with all this, the information down below wasn't, that's where I pulled my gas gauge information. Fuel, LCD, empty at 98 ohms, full at 8 ohms. So that's all I have with this install. If you like this video, if it was helpful to you in any way, subscribe, like. Any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. Thank you.